Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Binsack. It is January 11th, 2018, 111 day for all of you who are spiritual. It's been a good day for me with 111. I'm happy to announce that we have two more new board members of MFA who have joined our company, and we are growing. My intro tonight has to do with shithole countries. I see people in this group and around all mainstream media defending Donald Trump's comments about African and Haitian countries as being shithole countries. I think it's a disgrace. I'm a very big person who believes in staying real and saying what I feel, including the word fuck, which people do not like. However, one thing I have never seen is color. And why? The United States has been built up of immigrants. I can remember being young and the Irish, which are in my family, and the Italians were the ones being called, those immigrants, the Irish, and my great-grandparents Finnish, and the Italians, and you name it. You name it, okay? But the United States is made up of immigrants. Do I believe in closed borders, that the bad immigrants don't come over, the terrorists? Yes. Do I believe we should open our borders to everyone in the world? No. However, let's talk about when a president of the, alleged most democratic country on the planet decides to go out and be racist and call other countries shithole countries. Okay? And Africa is not a country, it's a continent. Okay? To be technical, these shithole countries, let's talk about Africa, is a shithole because other countries have kept it that way, right? Let's talk about Africa for it being stripped of its gold, its minerals, its diamonds, its oil, it's all the above, okay? Other countries from the United States to China to Britain to everyone's had their hand in their pie in Africa, and it is continued to stay, with the exception of South Africa, as Donald Trump wants to call it, shithole country. These people in these countries are made up of human beings with all of the same DNA. We all bleed red. And those Africans who have come to this country have helped build this country. Okay? Africa is not known for any terrorists coming over here to harm our country. Okay? Haitians don't seem to come over here and harm our country. Okay? And if it wasn't for all these people from Mexico, from Haiti, from Guatemala, from Nicaragua, from Africa, that come over here legally, okay, you wouldn't have the white Americans or even the black African Americans, those Americanized ones that don't come from culture, okay? You wouldn't have no one doing construction. You'd have no one picking produce. You would have no one cleaning the bathrooms in your hotels that we stay in. You would have, and I'm not referring to these people that this is all they can do for a living. No, but they come here out of risk to come to a better country. The United States has always been known as the country of opportunity, the land of opportunity for other immigrants to come here, migrate, and make a better life for themselves. That's been the U.S.'s MO, okay, for a very long time. Okay, there's more basic, you would look at it, there's tons of white Americans on welfare and not working. And they come from shithole cities in the United States. Okay, if you want to call Africa and these other countries shitholes, let's look at our own cities and towns in the United States, in Chicago, and they're right. Murder capital of the world, right, of the United States, murder capital. Shithole, I guess, right? My point is these shithole countries, the president of the free world should not be going out there and being racist and calling other countries shitholes. Okay? And everybody who wants to defend his actions, you got to have rocks in your head. Because again, United States is made up of all different cultures, all different races. It is a young country as opposed to that of China and Russia and others. And this has nothing to do with open borders. This has nothing to do with proper immigration, which I fully believe in. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with being racist. It has to do with putting other people down. Donald Trump, the man who went bankrupt 5 times and has been money laundering money and had to have the Russians and the Chinese bail his ass out when he had nothing and is indebted to them. Okay? The billionaire, alleged billionaire himself, who's in debt for billions, which will soon come out, and a lot of it is already out, if you do your homework, is dividing this country. And I'm not a Democrat, not even close, but he's dividing this country. He's causing very big race divide in this country. He's causing political havoc. And he's guilty with Russia. Forget the dossier. Forget the bullshit. Jared Kushner and the et al. Team, 1,000%, and you will find this out, America, and you can defend them all they want. And the biggest defense everybody says is, well, he's not Hillary Clinton. Anything's better than Hillary Clinton. No. It's not okay for Donald Trump to break the law and Hillary Clinton to not break the law and not be both found equally guilty of their own crimes. America's not built, was not built that way. But in the justice system, people like to put one wrong and put it over there to make a right, instead of standing up for what America was built on, was a free democratic society, which was supposed to be built on a justice system that works not by the law and not by who you know. In this case, it's who you know. It is a disgrace. This country is becoming the laughing stock of the world. Don't kid yourself. There's a time and a place to be political and democratic, okay? And in other words, with empathy for other countries, when you are supposed to be the leader of the free world and setting an example to the rest of the world. I may not have liked Barack Obama or any of the above, but at least be diplomatic and at least don't act the way Donald Trump is acting as a child in many cases, as well as discriminatory. It is a disgrace. These shithole countries that Donald Trump talks about have legal immigrants in this country. Immigrants made this country. All of us migrated here from somewhere. Remember that. Remember that. Okay? Remember where you came from. Maybe people should remember where we all came from, because we migrated here and America is a young country. And the shithole countries, as Donald Trump wants to refer to them as, we have exploited for a very long time. And Africans who come here don't cause any harm here. These people come in and do the jobs that lazy, spoiled Americans will not do. But yet they will sit at home and say they can't get a job and sit on welfare and pump out kids and get paid for every child that they pump out and play Xbox and smoke pot. Okay? That's a fact. And go get scratch-off lottery tickets at the end of the week thinking they're going to be rich and a 40 at the corner store. And that means white. It doesn't matter what color. I'm talking all colors. Okay? All colors. That's what they do. See, Americans are lazy. And that's a fact. And that's why you have immigrants from these shithole countries, including, and then we go from Mexico, wherever, picking the fruit that we eat, okay? Picking the vegetables that we eat in the hot heat, building the homes that you live in, even working on the construction on your roads and digging the trenches in this country. But that's okay for all these immigrants to do, while the spoiled rest, and whether they're more American than the lazy ones or the ones that sit at the top and point fingers. You want to know why they're more American? Because they came here not to rip and rob or live on welfare. They came here to this country to work and make a better life than themselves, because America, to these other shithole countries, is known as the land of opportunity for immigrants. And that's how the United States became what it is today, by immigrants coming here seeking a better life and a future for themselves and their family. People seem to forget, and that's where this division of these two parties. And people should shut the fuck up about Hillary Clinton. I'm so tired. Everything that comes out about Donald Trump. Well, Hillary this and Obama that and Hillary this. Pay attention. Learn how to focus. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Donald Trump needs to be held responsible for his actions, not portrayed to whatever Hillary Clinton did or Obama or George Bush or anyone else. Donald Trump is president of this country. People elected him to this country. And it doesn't matter what Hillary or anyone else does. It matters what Donald Trump does, because your financial future, your security, okay, your safety of the future, your children's future are in Donald Trump's hands. Not Barack Obama's, not Hillary Clinton's, not anyone else's that you want to go back and accuse and say, well, guess what? They did this and they did that. They've got the far right and even the far left pointing fingers at each other so badly to go back and forth, they miss the entire point. And that's the whole problem of a two-party system. They're distracting the American people from the truth of even about America and what this stands for. I see it all day. I've even seen it on our own wall. If you all think Donald Trump is this great man, you got another thing coming, because I'm going to tell you from inside the mob right now. I will tell you straightforward, the man is as dirty as they fucking come. Okay? So is it the kids, and so is the rest of them with them. Jared Kushner's father went to prison, understand? For serious white-collar crimes. They are dirty. Donald Trump is not God. Donald Trump is not a saint. Donald Trump says everything that's against him is fake news. So now anybody that follows Donald Trump thinks everything that comes off on the news against Donald Trump is fake news. And that's the way Donald Trump wants you to have it. That's the way Donald Trump wants you to believe, that anything negative comes out about him is fake news, when in fact it is not. And if you are that much engulfed in the president of the United States that you believe everything that comes out of his mouth, and you believe that everything bad about him is fake news, and you believe that this country should be locked up and nobody else come into this country, then you are sadly mistaken and very ignorant to not understand. This country was built on immigration. It was built on good, hardworking people coming here to build a better life. America's lost all of its values, its morals, and the above, and every day more and more with Donald Trump and his fucking tweeting and his bullshit, childish, narcissist behavior is embarrassing this country and causing more divide in this country. And if you don't like what I have to say, I don't care. That's what America is about. It's called freedom of speech. But if you are so engulfed that you believe this man is God and that everything comes out of his mouth, oh, he might have done some bad shit before, he won't do any bad shit now. I'm telling you something. Legal immigration is wonderful. All countries should be able, if you're a free country, they come here to build better lives for their family. And they work hard, and you're talking 99% of these people. In the 1%, in 2%, they do not. People are brainwashed and ignorant and have lost focus on what this country is about and what our morals and values are and how we got here. This is a young country. If you understand what I'm saying, other countries, China, Russia, have been on this planet and established much longer, Europe, than the United States. It is a young country built up of all immigrants. All immigrants made this country. Immigrants built that great statue. You know, when they brought the Statue of Liberty here, the immigrants built the foundation it sits on. So the bridges you cross over, the roads that you still drive under that are under the new ones. All these cities have been built by immigrants. Railroads built by immigrants and African Americans. All over. Slavery brought to this country. Give me a break. People come in here on legal immigration. Okay? Legal immigration. And if people are so against, and I'm going to end this intro with one thing. If people are so against California and California splitting off, seceding from the United States, please understand, California is the 9th largest income state in the country, in the world. Okay? If California secedes from the United States, it would basically bankrupt the United States. Pay attention. But people don't even understand economics. People do not understand anything that they're saying, but they go on social media and they rant and say stupid things that they have no idea about because they're ignorant. Ignorant from this internet and people believing everything that they read and everything is fake news, and they live behind this and they live in a virtual off reality instead of living in reality of what is real. And you do not, as a president, go out and call other countries shitholes. That is just on top of everything else the guy has said. And then, Mr. Trump, again, why don't you be a man and keep your word and say you would answer any questions about Russia for Robert Mueller? If you got nothing to hide and you didn't do anything, then take your ass like a real man and go in there and say, okay, I'll answer any questions you got. And I don't care about the rights excuse. Well, if you have a good lawyer, they're going to tell you, listen, I got 25 years of law. And if the FBI came to me right now and my client or myself, you need to ask me any questions, not a problem. Ask me any questions. I'll tell you the truth. Here it is. Have a nice day. And if my lawyers told me not to, I'd say, fuck you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to speak to my lawyer, to them, and tell them the truth. Because you want to know why? When you have nothing to hide, you don't mind telling anyone anything. This country's already bankrupt. This country's already done financially. People do not even see it by the amount of debt that this country's into. China is the new superpower and will continue to grow as that superpower. And nothing's going to stop it unless there's full-out nuclear war, and that will not happen. Nobody's that stupid on this planet to nuke China or Russia or above. These people are good people that come here. You're talking about very small, minute. There's 300 and some odd million people in this country. Just like Donald Trump's a great guy with Jeff Sessions, right? Let's knock and destroy the marijuana industry, right? Let's make it enforceable now after people have invested tons of money. Medicinal uses of marijuana are huge, okay? The taxes from it are huge. You don't have the type of accidents and fatalities you have, believe it or not, on marijuana as you do on alcohol. Okay? And now let's go and lock up this. You have states that are going to battle with the feds over this. When you even have a federal U.S. Supreme Court judge come out and say, end marijuana crimes, we could save close to $400 billion a year by just stopping the marijuana crimes and letting the people out of the federal prisons in the United States, and states could save tons of money as well. If they want to smoke pot, let them smoke pot. It's a plant. It's a weed. You're kidding, right? You're kidding. This is so that Big Pharma can gain control of all of this. That's what this is about. Okay? Now they're coming after the marijuana permits. In Pennsylvania, okay? Now they're coming after you're not allowed to own a firearm or anything, even if you're caught with any type of drug, whatever. These states are, this is ridiculous. We live in a police state, meaning the whole United States, and people want to make it worse. People want to make it worse. Watch the price when there's no immigrants to pick your vegetables, okay, to build your homes, to do your landscaping, to do the above, okay? When the prices go up at the supermarket through the roof. And the only reason why we have this problem in this country is because Americans are lazy and don't want to do those jobs. But these people will come here to make a better life from where they come from. Rightfully so. America is supposed to be that opportunity, and that's how it was built. People need to remember this country was built on immigration. It wasn't a bunch of white people that got off a boat and said, hey, we're going to build America. Whew. Doesn't work that way.
Compact and cute. This is one of the stars of this year's Consumer Electronics Show. His name is Buddy, and he's what's called an evolving robot butler. Just one example of how artificial intelligence is being harnessed to make life easier.
I think we're having an I moment, and it's not the iPhone moment, it's the integration moment. It's the integration of gadgets, of services, of devices into an ecosystem that at the end of the day benefits the user experience.
From clothes folding to window cleaning, there's something here for everyone.
You can pour as much or as little as you like.
You can save every last drop.
Pull the needle out of the cork, and because cork is elastic,
This is a great invention.
it reseals.
And even get a hand removing the evidence. But the most momentum involves the integration of artificial intelligence into homeware that already exists, like the fridge, washing machine, or TV.
What's the weather today? Right now in Las Vegas, it's 50 degrees.
This is right down the road for
The
me
annual
here.
display is also about getting a glimpse of the future, which is where Sophia comes in.
I love learning these polite gestures.
Saudi Arabia's first robot citizen unveiling her new legs and taking her first, albeit clunky, steps.
Good morning, Dave.
Clunky would have been an improvement on the LG stage where Chloe was unveiled.
Chloe, what's for dinner tonight? Okay, Chloe is
The
not
AI home robot
doesn't like me,
malfunctioned,
evidently.
not once, but 3 times, forcing the host to go off script.
Even robots have bad days.
Chloe's bad day may affect LG, but it's unlikely to turn the tide on the robot revolution, with analysts predicting these smart sidekicks will be an indispensable part of our lives sooner than we think. Kim Vanel, TRT World.
A family can be made up in many different
This is crazy.
ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle. And
Oh
that
my
gender
God.
is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit
This
of
is
both,
madness.
or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like The Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some
Oh
girls
my
like
God.
catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to teach our children?
Author and inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson
You
is a
go.
leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
And we are seeing the results of that now because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Carrie Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified.
Talk about confusing
the things
children.
That make our boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors.
This is
something that's now
globalism.
evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says, and it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees SOGI's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society
Yes.
into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values,
Exactly.
no morals.
No morals,
It's a
no
hedonistic,
values, no boundaries.
cult,
Just what I
basically,
just said in the
they're
beginning of this video.
implying.
another blaring example. Drag queen story time.
What?
It's happening in Canada
Get
and
the fuck
America,
out of here.
where some public schools and libraries invite drag
Whoa.
queens. Some dress like Torn Demon.
Oh my God. What in the world is this? Drag queen reading hour, story time, dressing up like evil, wicked demons. Drag queens. If I ever saw my kid, if I ever walked into a school and saw that reading to my kids, okay, or my child, that would be outside in a ditch and my kid would be out of that school. And there's nothing against, listen, my son is gay. Much love to him. He was born that way. I knew when he was 2. But you know what? A child should never be subjected to this. This is not real. God did not make that being. That being, a transgender being, turned around and made themselves look like drag queens. This is ridiculous. Holy shit. We are on the direct route on this planet to just complete immoral, scary times. Immoral. Values. It's going. I'm telling you, it's going. Nobody has respect anymore. No morals, no values. This is a fucking circus. Shit. Wow.
To read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds,
Socialism.
to accomplish this. And parents are waking up and saying no.
When asked about parents' rights, OJ says,
Well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited and children's rights are put ahead. So the child has the right to be protected from the parents when the parents behave badly.
Canada is known as one of the most gay-friendly countries in the world, with many of their largest cities featuring their own gay villages, like here in Vancouver, which has literally rolled out the Rainbow Road.
Most gays, like village resident Dave Davy DiCarlo, support Soji and limiting parental rights.
The change that we have to see
limiting
is
parental rights now.
Parents. And the kids are doing actually really okay.
This is very scary stuff.
Longtime Vancouver area pastor Kevin Kavanaugh says this is far more serious than most Canadian Christians realize.
Our problem is not the teachers, the educators, the administrators. This is a battle in the heavenlies.
He says Satan is going after their most vulnerable, the children.
No,
and the little
New World
girl
Order,
came
which
home in
is Satan, is going after
because
the children.
Teacher had told her, said
New
she was
World
playing
Order.
with some toys in the class that were
All
deemed
New
to
World
be
Order.
masculine in nature, that she was likely
They're going
a
after the
boy
children.
in a girl's body. The mother went to the school the very next day, and instead of having any sort of tolerance or support or understanding, she was actually called names. She was told that she was a homophobe, that she was a bigot.
With that in mind, Tyler Thompson, Simpson, and Pastor Kevin are spreading their message across social media and in
I'm going to
town hall
ask
meetings.
this lady to come speak at the
Pro-gay
Vegas
backlash
Summit.
has been fierce.
And the hatred and the anger and the bullying that came against us, even though we said, we love you. We don't take from you the opportunity and the freedom to live as you choose. We love you, but we do not agree with you.
Pastor Kevin believes Canadian Christians are in a 2 Chronicles 20 moment.
The word was this battle is not yours, Jehoshaphat. This battle is the Lord's.
And the church is beginning to prepare for what it takes to fight for our kids.
The battle between an aggressive homosexual agenda and the faith community here in Canada is far from over. But many Christian leaders say it may be the issue that causes a once sleeping church to rise up and be heard. Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Vancouver.
Some folks may think civilization is on the rise, but religious freedom certainly isn't. In the world right now, some 250 million Christians face persecution. That means 1 out of 12 face some sort of danger where they live just because of their faith.
Every year, the anti-persecution group Open Doors puts out the World Watch List, subtitling it this year, the 50 countries where it's most dangerous to follow Jesus. Open Doors president blasted #1 on the list North Korea and its dictator Kim Jong-un.
Imagine in your mind a leader who thinks he is God, but acts like an animal, devouring his own people.
David Curry blames Islamic extremists for some of the world's worst abuses, especially against women.
We found 2,260 women who were forced into marriage, who were raped, who had sexual assault by Muslim extremists.
An international advocate for religious freedom said it's important to remember the persecuted, like an American pastor held in a Turkish prison.
I met with Pastor Andrew Brunson in Turkey earlier this year, and his biggest fear is to be forgotten.
A top congressional fighter for religious freedom said the U.S. does big business with many of these persecuting nations.
A lot of these
Of course they do.
Countries that we have billion-dollar agreements with. And certainly I think it's important to know that when we are sending taxpayer dollars to some of these countries that we know what is going on.
Curry started this news conference by dedicating it to a 47-year-old nun who faced death threats for working in Jesus' name with the poorest people in India.
Two Hindu extremists came to her medical clinic, attacked her, raped her, drugged her, and left her unconscious, tied to a bed.
He asked American Christians to pray for people like this persecuted nun every Sunday and push for justice.
That seems so obvious, but until the voice and the heart of the American church is heard on this subject, I don't think much will be done.
They say one thing Congress could do is halt the months-long holdup of Kansas Governor Sam Brownback's appointment as ambassador at large for international freedom.
The people who suffer are people around the world who do not have a voice and cannot have a voice because people who should be their voice are not there for them.
We need a point person. This is not a partisan issue. Democrat or Republican, independent, you need to care about the religious liberty of others.
Persecution of Christians is on the rise. We cannot turn a blind eye to this evil, and the United States must continue to hold our friends and our enemies accountable.
For those who think nothing can be done about this, well, our government can certainly do more financially, and believers can do something prayerfully for their brethren persecuted around the world. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
We start this evening with a flu outbreak in the United States, which is reaching near record epidemic levels across the country, according to the CDC. The virus has been spreading rapidly throughout the United States, with widespread flu activity reported in almost every state, 46 to be exact. Vaccines have been ineffective against the new H3N2 virus. RT's Trinity Chavez reports tonight.
Biggest killer population right here.
And it's in full force. Health officials are warning that this is becoming one of the worst seasons on record. The virus has already been declared widespread in 46 states, New York being one of them.
It's Alabama, state of emergency just issued.
Circumstances where there's such a concentration of people, but the intensity of the flu is quite surprising.
The sneezing, the constant coughing, the runny nose are just some of the symptoms of this deadly virus. The CDC estimates that influenza causes 9 to 35 million illnesses and 12 to 56,000 deaths each year. But those numbers could rise as experts warn that we could be on the brink of a flu epidemic.
People should really respect influenza. It is a disease that we know in the United States causes millions of illnesses every single year. It causes hundreds of thousands of hospitalizations, and it causes thousands of deaths every year.
And doctors are seeing that dramatic increase in flu cases. Just in the last week, the CDC reported the number of flu hospitalizations has doubled. And in the last week of December, New York State saw a 66% jump in cases, bringing the number to almost 3,000, making the nationwide total 48,000 cases.
Last year, our numbers were pretty average. I mean, they were low to average. This year, we did start to notice a spike at some campuses, not at all of them, but at some right.
And people don't understand. This is right before their eyes. And because it doesn't have some crazy name like the Blue Bubonic Plague or some, something from history or, swine flu or whatever, the flu is killing people all over the world. And you want to talk about a depopulation program? The flu every year, new strains come out, and they're stronger and cause more deaths and more illness. Every year go up, 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 up. And now it's even worse and more shots. What they're going to do with this is turn it in that you need to get mandatory vaccinations. Mandatory. They will say you need to be mandatorily flu vaccinated to stop the outbreak and the i.e. epidemic. Pay attention.
Before we broke for the winter break.
Some doctors believe the dramatic increase in flu cases is largely attributed to a new strain of the virus called H3N2, which is known to be especially dangerous, making its victims much more sicker more quickly than other types of the flu. Health officials are encouraging people to just ride out the symptoms, that the majority of people infected by the virus will get better, but say the best way to avoid getting the flu in the first place is to get the flu shot and to wash your hands.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Reporting in New York, Trinity
That's going to
Chavez,
stop it. Pay attention.
It's been a dramatic change in life in less than 48 hours for people on the east coast of Madagascar. Ava was the latest cyclone to hit their island. It has now subsided, but it has left them homeless, sick, and in desperate need of help.
We are 6 in our family.
It's another one of those shithole countries.
Submerged in water. My child had a strong fever, so we decided to come here. From morning, the moment you step down from your bed, you are forced to walk in water. Water is everywhere, and that is the reason we came here.
Cyclone Ava sped up the east coast of the island on Friday before heading out to sea on Sunday. Heavy rains and winds of up to 190 kilometers an hour left a trail of destruction. Dozens died in floods and landslides. Up to 19,000 fled to temporary shelters. Hundreds of homes have been destroyed, roads submerged, schools shut down, and towns cut off from one another by the sudden appearance of new lakes. The region of Hot Matsiatra, 400 kilometers south of the capital Antananarivo, was worst affected.
We asked the state to come and see what we are going through and to look at our situation and find a solution to clear out the water, but it is stagnant and we don't know where to put our children.
Ava is not the first lethal storm to hit Madagascar in the last 12 months. In March, Cyclone Inao killed at least 78 people and destroyed large areas of crops. Rescue workers are struggling to cope with the phenomenon.
Nous avons un plan de contingence.
We have a contingent plan that contains 3...
All around the world, countries are being hit with acute weather, disease, war, you name it. Not one country anymore, tons of them. Tons of them. And people will still sit there and argue whether Hillary Clinton's going to jail or not. Unfucking believable.
Scenarios of floods and cyclones. The first one is currently in progress, and the expenses so far are no less than $20 million.
And as the cycle of natural disasters returns to strike Madagascar, the financial cost as well as the human cost continues to rise. Powerful storms and poverty combining to deadly effect. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera.
The destruction in Al-Jahmaliyah tells its own story. These streets saw some of the worst fighting in Taz. Airstrikes have left their mark, as have rockets and bullets. Faded Houthi slogans are all that's left of the rebels. They were pushed out by pro-government militias last year. But the memory of the fighting isn't far away for the residents that stayed.
Saudi Arabia just crushed Yemen.
And I heard shouting in the neighborhood. The women were shouting, the boys were shouting, the children were shouting. I came and saw my mother lying on here. What happened? A sniper had shot her in her leg.
Abdul Kafi's mother Aliyah was shot by a Houthi sniper in front of her house. And that makes her even more afraid.
I'm worried about my son's children and my daughter's children and all the generations that are going to come. We are afraid for them all.
Her scar reminds her she has reason to fear. Jahmaliyah used to be one of the busiest areas in Taiz. Now it's devastated. Houthi rebels were on one side, local fighters were on the other, and the residents
city by
were
city,
stuck in
country
the
by
middle.
country,
Now with the fighting
everything
over, the residents still complain that they're barely receiving any help to rebuild.
being destroyed.
Outside his home, Abdel Kafi explains the neighborhood's position.
The local fighters saw us as supporters of the Houthis, and the Houthis saw us as supporters of the local fighters. We were on the front line between one side and the other. We only had God. That side would lay siege to us from above, and the other side from below. The water trucks won't even come. They say it's not safe.
A similar neighborhood on the other side of the city. Here we find Marwan, and this used to be his home. 2 years ago, it was destroyed in a Saudi-led coalition airstrike. Marwan
And
lost
we back
10
the
members of his
Saudis.
family.
We give them the weapons.
There's no excuse for targeting a residential area. It doesn't matter what the reasons are, even if there are militias in the area. That doesn't allow them to hit residential houses with highly destructive missiles.
Marwan says 14 people were killed in total when their homes were destroyed. Local officials in Taiz largely back the Saudis, which means the authorities don't have much sympathy for people like Marwan.
When organisations found out that it was the Saudi-led coalition that hit our area, they won't want to take our case. They show no interest. It's as if the matter isn't of importance to them.
Marwan can wonder if anyone will ever be held accountable for the slaughter and destruction here. But for now, all he can do is wait and try to survive the war. Abu Bakr al-Shamahi, TRT World, Taiz.
The alarm has been sounded on the humanitarian situation in Idlib. What was supposed to be a de-escalation zone has, in the last few weeks, seen more and more violence. The Syrian regime has intensified its airstrikes here.
Syria.
This street in the city of Idlib came under attack this past week. Initial reports said it was the result of a car bomb. Locals here, though, tell us they're adamant it was an airstrike. People here are left picking up the pieces.
The explosion was probably caused by Russian warplanes.
Oh, yeah,
the
white
damage
hat.
caused.
This is coming from a white hat.
Mustafa
White
Hassan
helmet.
lost his family in the attack when it hit their second-floor apartment. The only survivor was his 12-year-old grandson.
He'll live with us now. He will never live as he used to live with his father, mother, brothers and sisters.
While I was in the bathroom, a rocket struck. I shouted, "Father, Father," but no one answered.
Idlib is the largest...
I showed the California mudslides yesterday, Deborah. I was with the show. It had to be deleted because of it, but have been showing the California mudslides. Okay, very serious stuff going on in California. It's all around, not just the United States. It's all around the world. This destruction is going on all around the world. From California fires and earthquakes to the mudslides there and the devastation. You could go on and on. To Syria, to Yemen, to Iraq, to Iran. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Okay? We could go on and on. People need to learn. This is not going to stop, and it's going to get worse around the world and at home. People think that this in Syria doesn't affect us here. You're wrong. It's our country behind this that created this ISIS mess that wanted to throw Assad out of power. We created this from a civil unrest like we just tried to do in Iran, which failed miserably. It's all over.
Rebel-held area in Syria now. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which has links to Al-Qaeda, controls most of the territory. That's the justification Russia and Syria give when carrying out daily airstrikes in the province, that they're targeting militants.
This is children. No, this is men.
He's saying that for the children here who are caught in this war, that there's no childhood, and you can see the children that are here, many of them have lost their families, some of them have lost their families in this most recent attack, and you can see what he's saying, the children here have no childhood. As the Syrian regime pushes to retake territory in Idlib, the population here in the north is swelling. Many people had already fled fighting elsewhere in Syria. Now they're being pushed right up to the border with Turkey. As the Syrian regime is almost at the door of Idlib city, for most civilians, there's nowhere else left to run. Sarah Firth, TRT World, Idlib, Syria.
Now, Saudi warplanes have once again targeted residential areas in Yemen where much of the country's infrastructure has been reduced to rubble in nearly 3 years since the kingdom launched a war there.
You mean
Saudi
the U.S.
jets hit a market in Saada province, killing at least 12
and
Yemeni
the kingdom
civilians.
launched a
2
war.
others were also killed when Saudi airstrikes bombed the district of Safra in the same province. Meanwhile, Yemeni snipers have killed 2 Saudi soldiers in the kingdom's Najran province in a retaliatory attack. Saudi Arabia's onslaught against its southern neighbor began in March 2015. The war has so far killed over 13,700 Yemenis, many of them women and children.
Amazing.
Prominent human rights groups have repeatedly accused Saudi Arabia of committing war crimes.
The number of people thought to have died in California's destructive mudslides has been put at 17, with at least a dozen more still missing. Over 100 homes have been destroyed and around 300 damaged after walls of mud poured through affluent communities along a stretch of Southern California coastline.
Our coroner's office and our forensic unit are working around the clock to make careful identifications, to be absolutely positive that we make the right identifications, and to work with and notify the next of kin. At this time, we are not ready to release the names of the victims or identifying information, but anticipate that we will be doing that in the near future.
Volunteers are combing wreckage for victims. More than 50 people have been rescued, but many places remain inaccessible. The US Coast Guard is sending in vessels to help with evacuations.
Just the past 48 hours, 3 boatloads of migrants and refugees have run into trouble off the Libyan coast.
Here we go.
300 people were rescued by the Coast Guard, tired and cold, but alive. Dozens more have perished in the winter waters of the Mediterranean. But for those who have survived, relief is short-lived.
I feel so disappointed because I could not make it to where I want to go. I feel so disappointed. And I don't want to go to prison.
It's unclear what will happen to them in Libya, a country with a growing slave trade and in which lawless fighting groups have helped create a transit and people smuggling hub. Last summer, Italian television filmed these pictures, apparently showing Libyan border guards firing at rubber dinghies packed with people and forcing survivors ashore at gunpoint. This after the European Union prevailed on Libya to help stop the seaborne influx.
After receiving a call from a fishing vessel about the presence of a migrant boat, we headed to the site and found the boat dilapidated. We found about 16 people alive. Unfortunately, the rest of them were missing.
At least 3,000 people died last year trying to reach Europe by crossing the Mediterranean. Flimsy vessels provided by people smugglers proving no match for the high seas.
We tried to search for them, thinking that maybe we might find the migrants.
And why did these people leave their countries? Okay. Just like I started off my rant tonight. America was built on people wanting to come. Okay? They want to leave their countries for a better life. And they work, they come, they get jobs, they do it legally, do what they have to do to become citizens. Everybody likes to go. If there's tons of illegals in this country, should they not be here? I agree. Okay? But if people want to come here legally, follow the process, and get accepted to come here, then they should be allowed to come here and create a life. That's what America was built on. And that's what people forget. You know, the shithole countries. Just remember who made them shithole countries. And let's talk about Haiti real quick. Haiti has one of the worst earthquakes in history. Okay? Worst earthquakes in history. It doesn't matter, Jackie, whether they're leaving there to go to Europe or America. It's the same principle. They leave their countries, not to be changing the subject, We are all immigrants. They were leaving their country to go to Europe for a better life because they believed Europe had a better life for them. Same thing here in America. They came here to think they have a better life, and they do have a better life, and they work hard at it. And they are the ones that keep your produce prices down, the food on your table that you're eating, the homes that you're living in and being built, the landscaping. I could go down the line. The bathrooms cleaned at the hotel or the commercial office workers or the above. It's a disgrace. Everything this is, and you know who's the biggest villain in all of this? America, Israel, Britain, France, Australia. Okay? They want to control the world. And they're doing a good job of it because people are allowing them to control the world, and people would rather fight over whether Umar Abedin is guilty or not, and whether, Trump Jr. did something, instead of paying attention to the real problems in this country. And if Americans don't wake up soon enough and start taking care of themselves, they're going to have shit left. Okay? They're going to have shit left. You're going to find yourself, just like I said 5 years ago, I said, give it 5 years. We're going to have a country just like Israel with walls, not allowed in, borders with walls. Like we always said borders, but I'm talking about Israel with big walls and all these regulations. You can't come in this country. This country was built on immigrants. The right way. And listen, I'm all for borders. I'm all for controlled. Illegals should not stay in this country. I'm all for an illegal gets in this country and commits a crime. They should do their time, ship home, and never come back. Totally disagree with what Obama was doing in that for that of immigration. That still has nothing to do with our president being what he's supposed to do, being the representative of this country that he is supposed to be, and dignified in doing so.
Alive, but unfortunately we did not even find bodies. The sea was very rough.
Already the signs are that 2018 will be no different. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera.
The Syrian Arab Army, SAA, the Tiger Forces and their allies have continued to advance in the Abu al-Duhur airbase area in southern Idlib and have liberated the villages of Jakusiyah, Al-Rajan, Miraya, Tamah, Miyal, Al-Adiliyah and others from Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, formerly Jabhat.
Now pay attention. This is not U.S. soldiers, okay, as Donald Trump likes to tell you, clearing Syria of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. This is Russia, Syria, and Iranian forces clearing Syria of ISIS fighters and ISIL and other rebel groups. The U.S. created this mess, and they want to take credit for cleaning it up? No. The U.S. has been helping ISIS and Al-Qaeda and arming them since their inception. Gotta have a war, gotta have a bad guy, gotta take over countries, gotta stick our nose in the hardworking people's tax-paying dollars go to pay for this, to destabilize the world.
Al-Nusra, the Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda. According to pro-government sources, the SAA also started a bombing campaign against positions of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham in the airbase itself, and the Tiger Forces even attacked militant positions in its vicinity. Should the SAA keep up the current tempo of its advance, it will storm Abu al-Duhur within the next 2 to 3 days. The ISIS branch in Daraa province, the Khalid ibn al-Walid army, reportedly captured al-Jubayliyah from its counterparts.
Pay attention to this area right here. See this area? Sorry. Where's my mouse on the screen here? My mouse. The area with the dotted line, the lines in here. See Israel? Okay. This is the area, this hotbed area right here. And then into Lebanon. Big problems coming in here.
i.e. from other militant groups in southern Syria. The Syrian Air Defense Forces thwarted 3 Israeli missile attacks on targets near Damascus, the country's defense ministry said in a statement on January the 9th. According to the statement, at 2:40 local time, Israeli warplanes launched several missiles from Lebanese airspace at targets near Damascus. The missiles were intercepted and 1 Israeli warplane was targeted by air defense forces. At 4 o'clock local time, 2 surface-to-surface missiles were launched from the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. They were also intercepted. At 4:15 local time, Israeli forces launched another 4 missiles from the Golan Heights. 1 missile was intercepted and the others hit a target, causing damage to positions of Syrian forces. The ministry added that the Israeli actions were aimed at supporting militant operations in the eastern Ghouta region near Damascus and to counter the victories achieved by the Syrian army in Idlib province. The US Navy's Boeing P-8 Poseidon...
Pay attention. We are trying to interrupt Syria and Russia's advances in taking over Al-Qaeda, ISIS, any leftover forces. Why does Israel want to do that? Because they don't want peace. The U.S. and Israel don't want peace. And now they're going to get into the U.S. part of this.
Military aircraft was detected in the area between Russia's Khmeimim Air Base and Tartus naval facility in Syria, where militants attacked the facilities using 13 armed unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, during the night on January the 6th, the Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement on January the 9th. It is a strange coincidence that during a UAV attack on the Russian military facilities in Syria, a US Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft was cruising for more than 4 hours over the Mediterranean Sea at an altitude of 7,000 meters.
No coincidences.
Separately, the ministry revealed via its newspaper Red Star that the aforementioned UAVs were launched from the Muazzara settlement, located in the southwestern part of the Idlib de-escalation zone, controlled by the armed forces of the so-called moderate opposition. The ministry has sent letters to Turkey's Chief of General Staff Hulusi Akar and Intelligence Chief Hakan Fidan, saying that it is necessary for Ankara to meet assumed obligations to ensure ceasefire by controlling armed forces and intensifying efforts to put observation points in the de-escalation zone in Idlib for preventing such UAV attacks on any targets. Earlier, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu accused the SAA of hitting the moderate opposition with the excuse they are fighting Nusra, HTS. Çavuşoğlu said the SAA's actions undermined diplomatic efforts for a negotiated solution to the conflict. It isn't clear what kind of so-called moderate opposition Çavuşoğlu had found in the Abu al-Duhur area, which is controlled by HTS.
Korea and South Korea have held their first official talks in over 2 years. The negotiations took place in the demilitarized zone between the two countries. The two sides agreed on the participation of North Korean athletes in the South Korean Olympics. They also discussed the potential reunification of families separated by the Korean War. And in a significant breakthrough, the two Koreas agreed on talks between high-level army officials in order to avoid dangerous military incidents.
So that you have 2 points of view. One is they're buying time to perfect their military capability, their nuclear capability. The other is that they're self-confident enough now, they're accepted as a nuclear power, they can then become acting as a normal state and start negotiating with other states. Kim Jong-un has won. North Korea has won. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea has won now.
I think this is very, very welcome news that there is a constructive dialogue going on between the two Koreas, and I hope something comes of it. I mean, when all's said and done, the political arrangements on the peninsula between the two countries are paramount here, and if they're talking, I think that leaves a lot less room for other countries, notably the United States, to complain about things. I think really everyone benefits here. It's very hard to say who benefits benefits most, I suppose in one sense, it is North Korea, because if there were a new war on the Korean Peninsula, it is true, North Korea would be entirely destroyed. I'm not sure South Korea would be, even though it would suffer great devastation. So if you're talking about total destruction as opposed to very serious harm in South Korea, I suppose in that sense, the North has gained more. But look, for South Korea, North Korea, China, Russia, Japan, the United States, if we can keep on to this track, it would be a big win for everybody.
The latest talks follow months of escalation in rhetoric and saber-rattling between North Korea and the United States. However, the South Korean president says Donald Trump deserves credit for making the talks possible. Let's take a quick look back at the kind of diplomacy that, according to Trump himself, eventually led to this dialogue.
Totally destroy North Korea. That's called the military option. The nuclear and ballistic missile programs of that regime require a determined response. Little Rocket Man, he is a sick puppy. A lot of people have said, a lot of people have written that without my rhetoric and without my tough stance, and it's not just a stance, I mean, this is what has to be done, if it has to be done, that they wouldn't be talking about Olympics, that they wouldn't be talking right now.
The Trump administration is gearing up to loosen constraints on nuclear weapons, leading critics to say it's playing into a Cold War mentality.
Here we go.
RT correspondent Anya Parenfeld tells more tonight.
According to John Wolfthal, who served as a special assistant to President Barack Obama on arms control and non-proliferation, the Trump administration is planning to, quote, develop a new low-yield nuclear warhead for U.S. Trident missiles. Wolfthal has seen the most recent version of the policy review and shared his knowledge with The Guardian, which reports, quote, the new nuclear posture review prepared by the Pentagon envisages a modified version of the Trident D5 submarine-launched missiles with only part of its normal warhead, with the intention of deterring Russia from using tactical warheads in a conflict in Eastern Europe. The Guardian seeks to paint the move as a break from Obama-era policy, which it states sought to reduce the American nuclear weapon supply. And while it is true Obama began his 8-year term with a speech in Prague calling for a world without nuclear weapons, by the end of his presidency, his tune had changed. In fact, in the last year of his administration, it launched a $1 trillion plan to modernize American nukes. According to a 2017 piece in Politico written by one senior fellow and one policy analyst at the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, quote, deploying new, more capable, low-yield weapons would only serve to heighten tensions between the United States and Russia, likely leading to a new type of nuclear arms race that no one would win and increasing the chances that these arms will be used. Critics warn this will be the effect of the Trump administration's policy. The U.S. claims these decisions are a response to a ground-launched cruise missile it's accused Russia of developing. Moscow has denied the charge. Last month, Russian President Vladimir Putin told a meeting of top military leaders, quote, they are searching for some violation in our part while consistently infringing on it themselves.
There we go.
All that seriously affects security in Europe and in the world.
The U.S. blames others for what they do, but that's okay.
As the deadline for re-endorsing the Iran nuclear deal approaches,
here we go with another
the world's
nightmare.
Once again second-guessing Donald Trump's next move.
Iran is taking over the Middle East.
The US president's repeatedly threatened to tear up the agreement, but so far he's reluctantly kept it alive. It was a landmark moment in international diplomacy. 7 countries signed the agreement at a time of heightened tensions across the region. Some of Iran's neighbours have been talking about a possible military strike against the country. Iran's made no secret of its arsenal of Russian-made ballistic missiles. Israel and Washington's Middle Eastern allies feared it also had an active nuclear weapons program. Iran insisted its nuclear agenda was purely civilian, but under the deal it agreed to end research in return for the partial lifting of sanctions, allowing it to access global financial markets and, crucially, sell its oil. As part of America's commitment to the deal, Congress requires the US president to confirm every 90 days that Iran's upholding its part of the agreement. Trump's recertified the deal several times so far, but things could be about to change. Last October, he announced a new Iran policy.
Iran is not living up to the spirit of the deal.
Spirit.
I am announcing a new strategy to address the full range of Iran's destructive actions.
It's a strategy many Iranians believe is motivated simply by Trump's growing support for Israel.
I think under Trump, U.S. and Israeli interests are closely aligned. And I think Trump's main problem with Iran is that it clashes with Israel for that simple reason. So for that reason, I would also add that should Iran and Israel's relationship improve, which is not on the horizon anytime soon, you would see major changes in the Iran-U.S. relationship as well.
Trump's refusing to recertify the deal until Congress amends it. He's called for sanctions on Iran's Revolutionary Guard, which he described as a corrupt personal terror force of Iran's leader. He also wants to extend time limits on the country's nuclear research and curtail its missile program. But as Congress didn't draw up the deal, it's not down to them to change it. Any alterations it makes with the president would be in breach of the international agreement. It leaves Donald Trump with two choices: recertify the deal and keep it alive, reject the deal, violate the agreement, and almost inevitably trigger an international crisis. Neve Barker, Al Jazeera.
I think President Trump has said that he wants to give the professional military more freedom to use their professional judgment on military matters. This is not just limited to the development of different kinds of, if you will, more usable nuclear weapons, but on the battlefield in Afghanistan and Iraq and in Syria. I don't think this is really coming so much from him, however, as from the bureaucracy itself, the military bureaucracy, that you have people, I think, for a very long time who've wanted to develop more of these kinds of weapons that are lower yield nuclear devices that they feel can be more credibly threatened with the use than the massive retaliation of older weapons that they don't feel is more thinkable. So I think, unfortunately, he's allowing professional judgment of military tactics to determine questions of strategic.
So let's make smaller nuclear weapons that can get more quickly to their destinations, faster, smaller nuclear weapons so that we can use them and we don't have total massive destruction. So that's what we're doing. That's where we're headed now. We don't need big nuclear weapons like we have to destroy entire cities. We're going to go to smaller ones that will just destroy entire, tiny areas of major cities and countries. And then it's okay. We can use those. Okay? Whole new world. Let's cut down the big ones and let's make them smaller. And then we'll have more of a chance to use them. Trust what I tell you. So it's a whole three-ring circus. Let's not blow up Moscow. Let's just blow up a small piece of Moscow that we, that to want to do it, so then we can just, entire this and crazy. You fire first. We're back to Cold War era bullshit. We're not going forward. We're going back 1,000 steps to where we were. It's a three-ring circus. Start piping in circus music every day across the whole globe. They should fly it all around the planet. Every country, everywhere. Circus. The whole world's a circus.
Policy, and I think that's a terrible mistake. I think he's unfortunately being misled about the potential disastrous consequences about development of this sort of weapons in the name of military professionalism. I think the Russians and also the Chinese and perhaps other powers are developing their own counter measures for these weapons. Every weapon you develop has a potential countermeasure. We do know that not only the United States but the Russians, and I believe the Chinese also, are working on hypersonic weapons, cruise missiles that can move very, very quickly, either with low-yield nuclear devices or with conventional warheads. It is very, very worrisome that we are going past the point of the kind of hair trigger we saw during the first Cold War with the Soviet Union. And what is amazing is that back then people were worried about it. There was real anxiety about the potential for nuclear war, and there were voices that spoke against it. Today you hear almost nothing.
My friend is speeding away down the road. Due to all the rainwater, he loses control of the other car. He hits a post. The car starts tumbling down the road. And me not having my seatbelt was terrible. I couldn't believe it. I crashed through the sunroof head first. Landed onto the roadway, and the car is still tumbling, rests on me, and it crushes my body and my skull, leaving this mark.
Not knowing anything, I just had to start praying immediately. Lord God, what is going on? Don't know what's going on with my son. I haven't heard anything. I'm just getting this, frightening call, getting all my stuff together, just thinking what is going on, what is going to be the outcome. And I just immediately heard the Holy Spirit say, he shall live and not die.
We looked at each other and we said, babe, he shall live and not die. And I went over to my son's ear and I said, Juan, this is Dad. You shall live and not die to proclaim the works of the Lord.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual powers. Huge, huge Bible verse there. I now quickly want to get into a show I wanted to show you last night. I need to find it now before I got interrupted by our great Wi-Fi connection from Skywatch Media. We were talking about, is the Earth tilting?
Skywatch Media News for the second week of January 2018. Hi, everyone. There has been a series of interesting, if not quite discerning, events that have occurred in the course of 1 week since the beginning of the new year. If you consider the type of events that have already developed and which are now developing, then there exists a strong indication.
Listen to, I like the word she used here. Welcome to the new Earth. Exactly. This planet, as I've been saying over the past 12 plus months, will never be the same again. We are in new Earth. We are in a whole new Earth environment, whether it be from planetary, war, financially, spiritually, every way. Welcome to the new Earth. And you're either in the together category or you're in the not together category. And people need to get right with God and get right with themselves and stick together and come together and stop bickering over the most ridiculous things and focus on what is important. Oh.
Indication that something is definitely not right with the planet. Something quite extraordinary is happening, which I will explain here shortly. When we discuss the probability of the Earth going into a tailspin, in which the axial tilt has increased, even if just by a degree or two from its normal 23 degrees, or whether the planet is in a severe wobble due to some unforeseen reason, in which case the Earth is attempting to adjust to a dramatic shift in its normal rotational pattern, then you begin to realize that our world is experiencing a set of events that spell trouble, not only for 2018, but for many years, if not decades, going forward.
Amen.
We understand that the world will not end on any given date, as some have predicted. But it is obvious for anyone who pays close attention to our planet, it is trying to adjust to the changes that are unfolding.
There's the date.
In August 2017, the ushering in of the years of tribulation was on full display
This is, I fully agree with, and by 2024, you're going to see this pole shift. You're going to see massive destruction on this planet between now and 2024. Mark my words. Mark my words. Time is of the essence. This is why we here at MFA, we work around the clock almost 24 hours a day.
In a barrage of events of biblical proportions. Shortly after the Great American Eclipse, a series of shocking events took place that have baffled scientists and meteorologists alike. From the Great Texas Flood, in which 5 feet of rain fell on Greater Houston, to the devastation wrought by a quick succession of immense tropical cyclones, which brought life to a standstill across the Caribbean, 2017 was a year of great misfortune and unexplainable tragedy. As we begin 2018, many regions of the U.S. Commonwealth of Puerto Rico remain in the dark, many months after Hurricane Maria knocked out all electrical grids across the region. Why is our government not responding to the pleas?
I keep saying this over and over. Why isn't they responding to Puerto Rico? I want to mention something one of our members stated. Brian states, man cannot destroy this earth. We can only make it inhabitable for ourselves. Bravo, bravo, Brian. Again, man cannot destroy this earth. We can only make it inhabitable for ourselves. That's man's biggest problem. They're their own worst enemy. And once you learn to not be your own worst enemy, I tell this to my daughter all the time, and it's something I learned. We need to stop being our own worst enemy. And I had said back then about Puerto Rico and everything, and here we are. And this is a new video. As you know, I wouldn't be putting up something old.
For help from its citizens in the Caribbean who are suffering the most and receiving very little federal assistance in their ongoing recovery efforts. In 2017, we witnessed an unprecedented sea phenomenon happening in many parts of the world, especially in South America. On the Atlantic coast, the waters were suddenly and mysteriously retreating from the shores, not in any normal manner attributed to the moon's gravitational effect, but in some unexplained manner that scientists attempted to dismiss as caused by upper atmospheric disturbances as a result of the Atlantic hurricanes that happened to be thousands of miles to the north at that time. At the same time that the sea was retreating on the Atlantic side, a massive tidal surge was happening all the way across the continent on the Pacific side in Chile, where massive waves crashed ashore. An unusual event of this caliber is referred to as the oceans in opposition, in which the waters on either side of a continent or a large landmass move in opposite directions. Now that the sea phenomenon has begun anew in 2018,
still going on,
what will be their excuse this time around? I'll comment more on this in a moment. There have been many strange events that have happened since the time of the grand eclipse of August 2017, suggesting that the great spectacle in the sky was in fact the precursor to a sequence of horrific events that will come upon the earth in what we now call the latter days. What we know so far about this year is that the world is going to be subjected to a number of earth-wrenching changes.
That's what I said.
Scientists have already acknowledged that 2018 is going to be the year for big earthquakes. Maybe they are attributing their sober predictions of major earth changes on a solar cycle in which sun activity comes to a halt and cosmic solar radiation then intensifies, which would then become their rationale for explaining the recent bizarre series of events. But should we be satisfied that they are accurate in their interpretation of events? and what may be causing them.
I want to read another comment quickly by one of our members discussing about Puerto Rico. And one of our members said maybe because Puerto Rico is in debt to the United States, that's maybe why we're not going there. Maybe under Trump, that's true. But you know what? It doesn't matter. That is a providence of the United States, okay? And Michael says, my uncle Constantine was captured at Hong Kong by the Japanese and tortured on the Burma Road. He saw the bombing of Hiroshima and treated the survivors. Probably one of the few Western doctors to do so. He said you never, ever wanted to go there again. Not even the Japanese deserved that, was the chief of medicine in Lansing, Tasmania. Can't make this shit up, told my kids this in front of Enola Gay. In other words, I'm going to say this again. It doesn't matter if Puerto Rico owed the United States $5 billion. It doesn't matter what the government did. Okay? If the government's corrupt, then kick them out. Okay? But the United States deserves to help those people in Puerto Rico. They are a territory of the United States. And as Linda just says, and I say all the time, our planet is changing, and we all must also change in order to survive. And in today's realm, the first key to survival, as I say over and over again, is knowing what's real and what's not, what's fake and what's true. Otherwise, you will be sucked in to the propaganda from those at the top of the pyramid that they want to spread to the base of the pyramid. And there's more of us than there are them. So stop fighting amongst yourselves against politics and who did what and who didn't do what, and focus on the future of yourself, your family, and thus that would help this country. Because the government will not be there for you. Tell me, all of you that love Trump or Clinton or anything else, when there's a disaster, is Donald Trump going to show up at your door and say, hi, how are you? You're the best. I'm here to help you. No, he's not. These people talk to Donald Trump on Twitter like he's listening to anything that they're saying. Mr. President, at real Donald Trump, please do this, this, and this. Please do this, this, and this. Give me a break. People need to learn, mankind, God resides in all of us, learn to rely on yourself. Rely on yourself. And then others around you who think and are in the same frame as yourself. Puerto Rico is not being helped because I'm going to tell you why, like I told you then at the time of the hurricane. And I told you then Puerto Rico would be wiped out and it would be forever for it to come back. I called that one right on the money too. Right after Texas and 50 plus inches of rain, and that Florida would get smashed next. I'm telling you again, they don't care about the Caribbean islands or the West Indies because they know they're going to be wiped out. They know that they're going to be wiped out, so they send a little bit of this, a little bit of that, make it look like they're doing something, and they're just waiting. Okay, they're just waiting. This planet is changing. There was just a 8.0 earthquake in the Caribbean Sea where there normally isn't one. If that earthquake would have hit a little bit differently, the tsunami from that could have been massive and wiped out everything in its path.
So let's resurrect the untold story about what is happening to our planet this time around, and what is thought to be the underlying cause of the unprecedented changes that are happening today. If the Earth is in a severe wobble or a tilting more than the 23 degrees that is the norm, then this could easily explain why the oceans are in opposition, where we see both a tidal surge and a retreat occur at the same moment in different locations.
Amen.
A sloshing motion would so agitate the sea as to create this effect. In the span of 3 days in the first week of January of 2018, on the Pacific edge of South America, there was a significant receding of the waters in Ecuador, followed 2 days later by a sudden and unexpected tidal surge in Colombia. Let's have a look. In addition to the bizarre movement of the oceans in recent months, the Earth's climate is creating havoc in both hemispheres. The immense winter cyclone that struck the east coast of the United States, referred to as a bombogenesis nor'easter, took on the...
I did say something big was going to happen on January 4th. This storm happened. It didn't happen before then or that. I kept seeing January 4th for something big. I didn't know what it was. As I've said, I don't know if it was this storm, but this was pretty bad, this storm. And very strange, actually, the way it came about.
Characteristics of a hurricane, as shown here. The historic storm was dubbed a bomb cyclone by meteorologists because of how rapidly the barometric pressure had dropped. It produced such a huge storm surge in coastal cities of Massachusetts that the waters that inundated the local streets virtually froze vehicles in feet of ice, in a scene reminiscent of the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Amazing. Look at that.
Heavy snow and blizzard conditions in both Spain and Italy trapped thousands of motorists in their vehicles, prompting rescue operations on January 7th. Accumulation of snow of this depth in these regions is very rare and almost unheard of.
Yep.
Further to the south, in Algeria, snow covered the Sahara Desert for the second winter in succession.
Wow.
This region of the world hasn't reported snowfall in more than 40 years. But now it would seem that snow is becoming an annual event in the Sahara Desert. These images tell the story of a changing planet.
Pay attention. That's what it tells the story of.
While North America's east coast is experiencing dramatic low temperatures, Australia's heat wave is so hot, it's causing the roads to melt. A big stretch of the Hume Highway has melted under extreme heat, as shown here. With temperatures reaching 115 degrees in portions of southern Australia, the country is now bracing for catastrophic wildfires. All of these events happening in the first week of January would indicate that the Earth is trying to balance itself from what may actually be a severe wobble caused by external forces.
Amen.
From extreme climate abnormalities across the northern hemisphere to an anomalous outflow of the waters in the southern hemisphere, scientists are attempting to explain the inexplicable. When Ecuador witnessed the sea disappearing at the beginning of this year, officials from that country indicated that the phenomenon was caused by the perihelion of the Earth being closer to the sun during the first week of January, an explanation that local residents did not accept. After all, similar anomalous outflows occurred last year, and they could not accurately explain them either. They just invented a similarity of explanations with general formulations, such as a full moon perigee, or such things as wind variations or waves of atmospheric energy.
They're full of shit, is what they are.
What was witnessed by millions of people in 2017, and now again in the new year, is something that no one seems to fully understand, and it is still a real mystery. What is really happening may be threatening our world and all life. Earth changes and extreme weather anomalies keep on coming, as if there is no end to the chaos that they create. In the wake of these events, the same question always comes up. What is causing this? Basic theory suggests that climate change will lead to more extreme weather, but making the link to individual events is difficult. Climate researchers tend to believe that climate change is primarily caused by humans, by means of the overconsumption of products that produce greenhouse gases, the result of which have led to a warming planet.
Bullshit.
But are these studies sufficient enough to suspect that the Earth is warming from above rather than below the surface, as some scientists have concluded? It seems reasonable to expect that some climate-related events would have happened regardless of global warming. But now the consensus is that humanity is to blame for some of the most extreme weather phenomena today. It's true that the world's climate is heading into uncharted territory, and that the weather is falling outside of the historical norms. But where should the blame be squarely placed? Is the Earth heating up from above? From below? And are we just on a wild goose chase to discover the cause and who or what is to blame for what is a clear and present danger to civilization? Unexplained occurrences continue to take place in Chelyabinsk, Russia, an area that has witnessed strange sky phenomena before. An immense presence turned night into day on January 7th. Creating a loud noise and causing the Earth to move, according to some accounts. A deep blue flash was reported over thousands of kilometers, but scientists disagree over the cause. Experts insist the phenomenon was not man-made, and there were no reports of meteorites striking the ground. Even so, something very significant happened here that remains unexplained. If you were paying close attention, I mentioned halfway through the presentation that based on scientific study and observations by seismologists, there would be an increase in big earthquakes occurring in 2018. If what happened on the evening of January 9th is any indication, then their calculations may be warranted. A magnitude 7.6 earthquake struck in the Caribbean just north of Honduras at a depth of 6.2 miles, prompting tsunami warnings. The earthquake occurred as a result of a strike slip faulting in the shallow crust near the boundary between the North American and the Caribbean plates. The last significant earthquake to hit the North American Caribbean plate boundary was a 1976 magnitude 7.4 event in Guatemala, in which 23,000 people perished.
23,000.
Here is the initial reports on the major earthquake in the Caribbean on January 9th.
We begin with breaking news tonight. There has been an earthquake off the coast of Honduras.
And that's led to tsunami advisories for parts of the Caribbean. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Craig Setzer. Craig.
Yeah, let's talk about the position of the earthquake. It's here located to the northeast of Honduras. Happened around 9:30 this evening. Initially was thought to be 7.8 magnitude, now revised down to 7.6, but still strong enough to create some type of tsunami threat. Waves up to possibly 4 feet in deep that are radiating out away from the earthquake zone. So the Caymans, Jamaica, as well as Cuba, and as well as the Central American coast, all under the threat for some type of wave action from a tsunami type of wave. And the biggest threat would be, of course, harbors and ports where the water would rush in and rush out and create high current. So folks advised in the Caribbean to stay away from the beaches through the evening hours and overnight hours, and also the Puerto Rico area as well as the U.S. Virgin Islands under a tsunami advisory, not a warning, just an advisory, meaning that you shouldn't go to the beaches and just take precautions near those ports as well as harbors. So here is the fault line that it's on. And basically, we have the Caribbean plate that's slowly pushing to the east and the North American plate pushing to the west. So earthquakes along this zone, not uncommon, but when they happen, of course, we have to take note of them.
Actually,
on the same day.
Actually, this meteorologist, what he just stated, that they're not, that they are not uncommon in that area. Pay attention. I did the history the night I did the breaking news on the last major earthquake in that area. Okay, it is uncommon for that size earthquake in that area, and that is basically the largest earthquake that's hit that area. Okay, in the Caribbean Sea, and it's an 8 and change, and then they downgraded it, but European agencies 8.0 or above. So he's wrong. And I checked that. So this guy not on, pack your shit, weather dude. Next.
January 9th, a powerful winter storm hit much of California. The storm dropped several inches of rain on areas that were affected by the Thomas Fire, which was California's largest wildfire in history. The rain triggered flash floods and terrific mudslides, prompting the evacuation of thousands from the danger zone. Sadly, many in this community ignored the warnings to get out of harm's way, a decision that cost the lives of at least 15 at last report. The following images, taken shortly after the mudslide, show the grim devastation wrought by the sudden movement of the hillsides of Montecito, followed by video footage showing the tremendous impact of this event.
Horrible, horrible. Amazing. Simply amazing. Jet off the West Coast. Jeez. I know this area well here.
As we struggle with the obstacles confronting humanity here on Earth, let's not forget that there are also great dangers that exist in the heavens, such as this object, which recently flew past the Earth at half the distance of the moon. If we fail to recognize what...
Notice it's 111 feet across width, a 347-day elliptical orbit of the sun. 111.
Lies in wait, or heed the warnings that are given, then we will be subject to the consequences of the dangers that come our way. As we look to the new year, let's also look to the sky, for there is so much to see, a universe of mystery and grandeur, and a new world in waiting for those who seek the truth.
As I say again, if you live on the coast of this country, you should move as soon as possible inland. And I'm happy to announce today that I stated at the beginning of the show, we have 2 new Tier 1 board members, as well as 2 more sales coming for Atlas. So far, we have several who are ready to build and buy at Atlas once we immediately close. So that is good news. We have a lot of big things coming, and I'm happy we're going to be relaunching our private social media forum. We are just waiting for some video people to get back to us, and our coders are working on a couple more things, and then we will put our beta testers in. So lots going on, and we at the MFA family, it is time to unite and bring on more members. That is our goal. Get our news network up. I'm also going to be holding a little bit of a contest. So we're looking to get a writer to write an about for MFA to be used on all of its websites. Not our mission statement, but an about. A little bit of history of me, how we started MFA, and then how it got to where it is, and the 7 companies that it is, and things of that nature. If you're interested in wanting to write or even want a job with us at MFA News, or to write or to volunteer to write, I'm going to be giving away, one of our members already wrote a rough draft for one, and I'm going to have this contest because I'm looking for writers as well. So, but you can do it if you just want to do it, and we're going to be giving away $250 worth of MFA stuff. Okay, we'll give you $250 of MFA brand new stuff from our new store, as well as a position in writing if you want it, or even on a volunteer basis, you want to write an article a month for our newspaper, for the real MFA News, as well, or for our survival blog and survival network as well. And that is getting ready to launch, and the survival pricing is we're just wrapping that up. All the new memberships are ready to go. Kim is putting that stuff on the website page for membership joining, and That's correct, Deborah. Not everybody can afford to buy an Atlas, and this Atlas City 1 and 2 is of the cheaper one. I'm trying to keep it. We want to keep it here. That take it as but the survival group, which is tied to Atlases, the survival group being a member of that, you will see when you join survival group, you will have part of an entire network across the United States and even the globe. You will get all kinds of goodies with that. You're going to get an MFA bug out bag with the best supplies in it. You're going to get a pair of the new walkie-talkie devices that will turn your cell phones, even without power or service, into our grid system to speak to everyone, text, and the like, as well as we'll also be selling our survival track, as well as be part of the survival forum and a network across this country. We'll be providing you 3 emergency routes from wherever you choose to go to from your area, and that you will see what the prices are to join Joyce on the website as soon as I put it up. We are finishing it up as we speak. And there's lots of things that people can do to survive as a group. It doesn't mean you have to live in a community. As a group, in our survival group, that is what will help you in the difference between living and dying. Believe what I tell you. Our survival group is not just going to be about people together. We're going to be doing survival training classes. We're doing all types of stuff as part of MFA TV with the survival group. There's a lot to come with survival group and survival track and what we're giving you for joining and the above. So there's a lot. There's also jobs going to be created in Kansas, okay, and at MFA from our headquarters, but for the development company as well as building on Atlas City sites. There's lots of things available. People can work from homes. We have a lot of job opportunities. You'll be seeing that button on the website to put in for that. You'll see our new volunteer application up on the website as well. All current volunteers have to sign that, but new ones will go in there as well. If we all work together, we can survive. It doesn't have to be where you are. If something happens where you are, we can get you to a safe location. And other MFA Survival Group members can also aid you and assist you in your area. That's what this is about. It is about building a survival family and a community across the United States and even across the country, because Survival Group will be able to work in other countries where other members are together there. Deborah, Atlas condos start at $250 and above. Yes, Katina, I will be moving to Kansas as soon as we close. This is a multi-million-dollar project and properties we're buying. You will see the Atlas site up very shortly. We're crowdfunding the property. You can own a piece of Atlas. Okay, you don't have to live there, but you can even own a piece of it. A lot of investors want to come in. They know the idea and the concept is incredible. They see where MFA is going. They see where our news network is going and our TV network is going, and especially our survival group. Many people are coming on board. Many people are helping with donations. Many people, we are building a lot here and fast. We're a year and a couple of weeks old. So that's correct. So Jessica, if you have a bug out place and you're part of survival group, we will even provide you, and you'll know where your members are right around you. You will know if you're in trouble, so the member can get to you, or we can get the authorities to you, or if there's a major. This is when I point. People have, yes, Deborah, you'll be able to go out and see them after the models are built and the construction. They're going to be sold out by then, Deborah. I'm sorry to tell you, they're going to be sold out by then. They will be sold out. I already know for a fact. These are being pre-sold before the fact, what we're doing, and they will be sold out. No, we do not take IOUs. But my point is, as a group and an organization, the survival group itself will aid everybody. It doesn't matter where you live. Our survival store, you'll be able to buy products that you need discounted, and no one has the radio network we're building and satellite communications that we are building as part of that. That I can assure you. This is us. We are the pioneers on this, and using the companies that are pioneering with their technology to come on board to create what we are creating. Yes, Carolyn, you're right. I apologize. You're right. A lot of new members do not realize how far we have come in just a year. We have come very, very far in just a year and a couple of weeks. And it's only going to continue to keep growing because wonderful people keep coming on board and making this possible. I'm going to say something to you. MFA has no debt at this time. Okay, and we're looking to buy our properties that we're in contract for in Kansas outright cash without borrowing money too. Okay, everything we are doing here, from web development to everything that we are doing, store stocks, everything, we have no debt. The only thing we have is our monthly payments for our normal, for whether it be websites, servers, all that kind of stuff. And that's not cheap, okay? But we have no debt. We just got our Dun & Bradstreet number, rated in top credit. We are using their credit builder. There's 7 companies here, all done, all incorporated, and all operational. Yes, Leilani, thank you so much. And Leilani's been wonderful to help MFA as well. She's incredible. She's an investor in MFA as well. Yes, Deborah, you can still buy the condos now. That is correct. And we are taking pre-orders for them, and people are just reserving them with a small amount down. The money's just going into escrow. It is not going anywhere else. It just sits there. And that's, we guarantee you that in writing. We're not, this is a major corporation. We're not doing that. And we will be offering some financing to certain people, but they're going to start at $250 and then go up. Debbie Survival Group, you will see the pricing it should be done by tomorrow or the next day. You will see me marketing all our new membership programs and how that works. And any current Underground members will be receiving their new card. Deborah, you can contact me directly, and I'll be happy to talk. Anybody want to discuss Atlas, just contact me directly. I will answer you personally. You can text me or call me, 805-603-5069. You can email me at scott@mfaofficial.com. It's not just a castle in Kansas, Debbie. We are under contract for several properties in escrow, and there's 2 properties that go together with Atlas One. It's a total of almost 200 acres. Yes, Adam, I do believe, as you just saw in this video, if you were watching and paying attention, the tribulation of 2017 to 2024 is when you will see by 2024 the major planetary changes. And it's not just below ground living here. This is a community above. These are communities designed to live above ground as well, okay, with all green energy, the latest in growing, hydroponics, even above ground, greenhouses, farming, the like, okay, horses and things. We're creating an entire self-sustaining community, nice roads and that, not paved, stone roads, low to earth shelter homes. You'll be seeing the look of this. This is not some cheesy looking trailer park community. This is serious stuff, and it's costing millions and millions of dollars. You need to put 200 people under the ground and keep them safe for a year. Okay? Earth homes, condos, and you have to make sure that you can keep 200 plus people alive, ventilation, food, entertainment, medical, everything. It is a beautiful area in Kansas. Even if it wasn't that property there's so many bases available in Kansas, and we're buying a company with it to sell military bases, and we have a lot of stockpile of military bases. So, on April 8th, 2024 is the next solar eclipse. That is correct, Vicky. So, that is where we're at. I'm going to wrap this up now. Now, I also want to say something else. Tomorrow's Friday. A lot of big political stuff going on, I'm hearing. No, silo bunkers are not 165K. Silos are totally different condos, total different living, total different areas. And there's what we're going to have one converted in what we call our black op area, and that is going to be for very, very expensive condos. And then the other one is for middle range condos from about 600,000 and up. And they're not as big as the other ones. But Atlas cities are different. We are looking for Atlas cities to be for affordable for people, middle income people to live and be part of this. We're getting the University of Kansas involved. We're getting a lot of people involved. This is not just a community. This is self-sustaining, from the food to the animals to the technology to the electricity to the everything. Green energy, things of that nature. Water, our own water, 70,000-gallon water cistern, as well as water treatment facility. We may even get into bottling this water, because it's now been proven that all water has been with fluoride put into it as well, and other things. Yes, there's going to be paid jobs there, Brian. And then, yes, paid jobs. Paid jobs. When I say self-sustaining, we're self-sustaining for the people that are there and work there and are part of it and part of our organization. We are creating the jobs for people in our group. And that's the idea. Yes, Randy, that's a good idea. We could have another meeting at Atlas after we close or something, or meeting after so far in the summertime when we start construction and things like that, before that in the spring, and set something up for the summer. That would be awesome. We could have a very big we could actually have the Truth and Survival Summit there, Randy. You know what? You just made me think of something. That would be awesome. Debbie, I'm going to say it again. Subterra Castle is only one of the pieces of property at Atlas One that is part of that community. We are buying the property. We're in contract for the property next door. It's 200 plus acres. Subterra is only a very small piece of that. We are expanding that underground facility. Atlas 2 is just like Subterra, but it's not even a 30 minutes away. Yes, Brian, people could live there all year round. I'm going to be living there all year round. I'm off the grid. I want to be off the grid. You know what, Roberta? I think it's a good idea. I think that's an awesome idea. And then we could do it as a big event, even camping, cool stuff like that. We could turn it into a real Truth and Survival Summit out on the property. It'll be awesome. Big bonfires, everything. And we just charge a regular, price that can come with this, and it includes all the food and all the stuff. I like that idea. And then we could have the vendors out there as well. The vendors out there, they're going to be there because we can get them there and I can get the speakers out there too. We can set up a stage, the whole bit. It'd be awesome in the summertime out there. I like that idea. That's a really good idea. It's better than Vegas too. That's a very good idea. And it is about survival and truth, and we bring the people out there. Totally cool. We could give a tour of everything that's going on. Construction will be going on. We're getting ready and doing things. And we certainly have enough people with space for 200 acres to do some really cool stuff. Yeah, I hear you, Roberta. All right, we'll talk about it in the board meeting this week. Brian, no, we won't play country music. The weather is beautiful out there. I never thought I would say I love Kansas, but I love Kansas. It is just a beautiful place, very peaceful. Falls on ley lines, magnetic ley lines. It's a really, really nice place. And, people who can't afford, you can just also, be, like I said, a part of the survival group and part of the organization. All right, guys, it's 9:30 here. It's 12:30 by you. I agree, Carolyn. Promote ourselves, not Vegas. Yes, Joyce, there are regular addresses there, like a normal community. Normal houses with driveways to them, but in stone. Limestone roads, beautiful, into the homes, things of that. Gail, contact me about getting on a board. I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm happy. Katina, East Coast, West Coast, anytime. As fast as we can move, people need to move off the coast, and I'm not just saying that bullshit. I'm not just telling you that. I'm telling you, time is coming. And I can't predict the time. All I can tell you is what my soul and my gut and information and planetary, what I see. And I've yet to be wrong about it. Another quick thing, as I started with, if there's any big breaking news, I will come on live quick tomorrow, whether I'm out or not, but we're working, my team and I are working very hard for this big show on Sunday for Las Vegas. And it's going to be pre-taped, so I have to get it done because I have a very big investor coming in from New York on Saturday night. So, and I will be going to the hockey game here with special seats that I've been given and treated to take this investor out. So, Marilyn, it all depends. We're working on that too. Yes, Shannon, a lot of work. There's 3 shows in this, and they're 2 weeks apart, these shows, episode 1, 2, and 3. Yes, Karen, you at least have to be 150 miles inland, at least 150 to 200 miles inland. I don't care what coast you're on. Please listen to what I'm telling you. You do not want to live on the coast, especially after 2019. You just do not. And it all depends how bad what's going to happen this year. We'll see what happens with the coast and things of that nature and how bad the storms are going to be. And you need to be above sea level. It's not just also, you have to be above, like Atlas is 1,400 feet above sea level. All of them are up at those levels. So a lot of good things are coming. Yes, Jessica, I'm going to be watching, I guess, the Edmonton Oilers and the Golden Knights. That is correct. Yes, Kathy, I have heard that tomorrow you could see some indictments tomorrow, or one big one, or a major leak about the indictment as well. So up through Kansas and all the way through the middle of the country is the safe places. Shannon, they don't take very good to trailers in Kansas. We're not allowed to have trailers on the property, and I don't blame them. Neighbors do not want trailers all over the beautiful area out there, and they stopped the trailer park before, and you have to be careful with that. They don't mind tents and things temporarily if you're going to do a weekend thing or a week thing and things like that. Yeah, Gail, just get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. Yes, it was a great show, and I'm sorry about last night again. So you'll only hear from me in quick few minute things, and if it's breaking news type stuff, because the next 48 hours I'm working on this Vegas show. And yes, exactly, Adam. Tornadoes like trailer houses, and they're not big on them in Kansas. But listen to what I'm telling you, especially in the counties where we are, and that's why these communities are built with earth shelter homes, which are concrete homes with earth and a beautiful front entrance, and you go in, and then they go down, and then they connect. They have their own bunkers if you want them, and they still connect to the main facility. So, like I'm saying, this is not just a community to go underground. This is a community to live above ground with solar energy, wind, water containment, incredible construction techniques, security, safety, and survival for up to a year. God forbid we have to go under. And I am planning, just so you know, when this Vegas show is this first one and I get the other one, I am doing a seminar. You'll be seeing a landing page for my seminars coming out, a new website that is going to list with MFA TV my seminars to the public, and members get in for nothing. So if you're a member of MFA, you just sign up for it and put your member number in. No, Adam, tornadoes are no problem. No, yes, Joyce, they're going to have toilets. Of course they're going to have toilets. These are beautiful condos and houses. Of course they have toilets. They have the best amenities. Under the ground, you're going to have restaurant. You're going to have gym. You're going to have shooting range. You're going to even, we're thinking about putting in a casino in there that's not for gambling money, but for using for like MFA points and stuff, because a friend of mine here, we can get all these incredible slot machines and tables for practically nothing at auction, and we could put it in as an underground, casino and bar and things like that. I thought you were going to have houses. Yes, we have houses and condos. They all have toilets and nice, beautiful bathrooms and all the above. Nice cabinets and all the above. All state-of-the-art technology and the like. Yeah, we're going to have 5-gallon buckets. We're going to have 5-gallon buckets. You got to bring your own joint compound bucket with you. You have to get your own. Part of joining is you must bring a 5-gallon bucket plus $250,000 to get a condo. No. No. No outhouses. No, every house is it's like living in a normal house. Actually, nicer than living in a normal house, the way they'll be done. No outhouses. No. Actually, they're very expensive toilets that do both. You don't need toilet paper for them. One of the gentlemen who has done silo sites and is on his second, Larry, known for that, is they use a special toilet. We'll be using the same, and they are not cheap, and they are very nice. And you do not need toilet paper. We don't have room to store 1 million rolls of toilet paper. Yes, and we are going to have helicopters. It'll have pack your shit on the side. All Atlas cities will have a heliopad to go from one to the other, or to bring people in if they need to, emergency out. Yes, as Roberta said, you're going to be shocked on how beautiful. Yes, there will be a pool. One above ground and one below ground. And the pool inside is very important because we use the water for, God forbid, there's a fire, as well as state-of-the-art fire systems. Yeah, outhouses and cattle tied to your house. That's exactly what we're going to have. No, this isn't some... Brian's got it right. In a lawn chair with a hole in it for your bucket. With a big X on there. You have to make sure you spray a big X in the bottom of your poop bucket. How's that? No, you'll be very shocked when you see the Atlas website and you see the type of structures and the floor plans that we're putting together. Terry wants to know if there'll be a pool boy. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure somebody will end up being the pool boy. Yikes. You get trapped under the ground for a year and see what happens. Oh, shit. Outhouses for $25 million homes. $250 million. Yes, Gail, exactly. And then T-shirts to mac your butt. Yes, they're going to be furnished. Decorator's going to come in. We're going to have models. You'll have 3 different model homes and 3 different style condos to look at. Yes, Michael, there'll be a nursery for children. That's part of the application process. We will not have any chlorinated water, Elke. I do not use chlorine in pools, even as a builder. There's much better products that are not chlorinated to treat pools, jacuzzis, and things of that nature. I've never, as a builder developer, used chlorine pools or hot tubs. Chlorine is horrible. And you don't want indoor pools to have chlorine. It's just the smell alone, and it's not good. You can get it furnished or unfurnished. Yes, there's a dog park. Of course, Vicky. Animals live underground too. But that's part of the application process. Depends upon how many animals you have, things like that. Yes, Gail, saltwater pool is a possibility. So you're going to have nice entertainment areas. There's going to be a movie theater, everything. So it's not like rock climbing wall. We're going to do all kinds of good stuff in these areas, and very nice. A library, a computer room, all kinds of good stuff. Yes, Marilyn, we're making it that certain people, if they're credit worthy, can get a mortgage with certain deposit or down payment. Saltwater pools, so everybody knows, is just simply a filtration process. It is nothing else to where you're using. It's not like if I would build a home in the Hamptons, we would pump in from the ocean salt water. So these are saltwater pools are done just by the. $250K is not a lot of cash, Maryland, for this type of homes and condos. No one is offering anything like this. For those prices, you'd have to pay millions to get an underground place. Millions. There's no other places cheaper, and if you go with the other ones that are empty from, I won't mention the name of the guy's company, they're just empty ammo bunkers on top of the ground that you have to furnish yourself. Those alone are $25 and then $250 to do them in their little. All homes have access to the underground area. That is correct, Debbie. When you look at this property, you're just going to see beautiful trees and vegetation and ponds and just the top areas of the houses very nicely sticking out of the ground, very nicely with there's tons of limestone in Kansas, and where we are, we'll be using everything that we blast out of the ground. Maryland, we're here to provide a service to help people, okay? And money is money. To do these type of developments, this is very serious. Air filtration systems for something like this, you don't even want to know the cost. This is a multi-million-dollar project. Multi-million-dollar project. And if we will be offering financing, but you still, like a normal house, you'd still have to come up with the down payment and the like, and the bank would require that anyway. So, regardless. Yes, Debbie, $250 starting price. That's starting price. Yes, Monica. This is not just the opportunity for this to have Atlas cities all over the middle of the country. That's just starting. So, you're going to have homes that are $500,000 in there, but that's not the sizes are not changing. There's only 3 sizes. It's the amenities that the homes are going to have, as far as if they have their own private bunker, and they all get tied to the main community. So, and this is the first of its kind. They have what's his name has done the one silo site, and that is they're roughly $2 to $3 million a piece. Now the other ones are more. There you go, Gail. That's good. Now, if you are a board member and thus part owner of MFA and a managing member, you then get the homes condo for cost, and you already have an inn at Atlas if you want it. That's exactly right. Karaoke night with me. All right, guys. Yes, there is going to be a 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 1-bedroom type home. Same thing with the condos. 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom. Linda, you can just have an underground home. That's where the condos are going, most of them. Anybody having any questions about this, you must be a member of MFA. This is not a public offering, so anybody watching this on YouTube or MFA TV, you must be an MFA member to when it comes to not Atlas or Survival Group, but to as anything to do with our board or things of that nature. All right, guys. Good night. God bless. And I got a lot of work to do in the next 24 hours. So like I said, I will be unavailable the next 24 hours, but something big with Friday, I will be on. Okay? Thank you all again.